Hey everyone! Before we dive into this story, please hit that subscribe button to join my channel for more gripping tales like this one. The second I turned the key and pushed open my front door, a chill gripped me. It didn't feel like crossing the threshold of my own home. It was as if I'd wandered into a stranger's world. The air hung heavy, unnaturally sharp, like the house had been frozen in time. Every surface sparkled, every nook flawless. For a fleeting moment, I wondered if I'd pulled into the wrong driveway. But no, this was my place. My key worked. My furniture stood where I'd left it. Yet everything felt off, unnervingly pristine. It wasn't just tidy. This was the kind of clean that didn't come from a casual weekend spruce up. It was meticulous, almost clinical. A faint whiff of lemon cleaner and air freshener lingered, masking something sour beneath. My footsteps echoed faintly as I stepped inside, my pulse quickening with each one. This didn't feel like coming home. It felt like sneaking into a forbidden space. Then I remembered what my neighbor had said. 5 words that sent ice through my veins. I heard screams from inside. I didn't want to believe him. Roy wasn't one for tall tales. He was the warm, watchful type, the neighbor who grabbed your newspaper off the lawn or watered your plants when you were away. But that day, when he caught me by the driveway, there was a shadow in his gaze, a mix of concern and unease, the kind people get when they sense trouble brewing. He'd mentioned seeing strangers coming and going from my house while I was gone. He'd heard noises, music, shouts, even what sounded like sobs. He thought maybe I'd rented the place out or hosted a party I hadn't mentioned. But when he learned I'd been away for nearly a month, his face paled. I'd brushed it off then, convincing myself he'd mixed up houses or heard the neighbors across the street. But now, standing in my eerily perfect living room, that dismissal stuck in my throat. Something had happened here. Let me rewind a bit. I'm Helen, and for the last 8 years, I've been driving trucks across the country. People assume I'm some fearless road warrior, all toughness and no nerves. But when it comes to family, I'm the soft one, the one who forgives too quickly, who sees the good in everyone, who says yes when she should say no, especially to my mom. Life on the road is grueling but liberating. You live in a tiny cab, shower at truck stops with water as weary as you are, eat sandwiches that taste like packing material, and sip coffee strong enough to burn through metal. But after hours of endless highways with nothing but open skies and the hum of the engine, you grow to love it. The solitude, the rhythm, the feeling that it's just you and the road. Still, loneliness creeps in, especially at night, parked at a rest stop surrounded by other idling trucks, each with its own tired driver. That's when you think of home, the bed that's waiting, the walls that stay still, the quiet that doesn't hum. My house was my haven. A modest 2-bedroom with a white picket fence and a second-hand porch swing I never got around to using. I'd worked years to earn it, hauling cargo through blizzards, storms, and sleepless nights. Every time I came home, turning that key felt like taking my first real breath in weeks. So when my mom, Patricia, offered to look after the place while I was gone, it seemed like a gift. She lived just 20 minutes away, with plenty of time on her hands since my dad passed 5 years ago. She seemed eager to help, saying she'd water the plants, grab the mail, maybe tidy up a bit. I trusted her completely. My mom's always been the social type. Parties, charity events, book clubs. She knows everyone in town and can chat for hours without saying much. After Dad's death, staying busy kept her afloat. So when she offered to watch my house, I handed over the spare key with a grateful smile. This last trip was brutal. 3 weeks of nonstop driving from Detroit to Phoenix and back, battling scorching heat, worn-out tires, and endless traffic. When I finally rolled into my driveway, I was so exhausted I could barely think straight. That's when Roy appeared, hose in hand, worry in his tone. "Everything okay over there?" he asked, glancing at my front door. "Why wouldn't it be?" I replied, forcing a smile. He hesitated, then said softly, "I've heard odd noises from your place. Screaming, music, people coming and going at night." Those words didn't sink in then, but now, standing in my immaculate living room, they hit like a freight train. I moved through the house slowly, my fingers grazing the edge of the couch. No dust, no stray mugs, not even a blanket out of place. It was unsettling. The kitchen counters gleamed, dishes stacked like they were on display. The fridge hummed too softly, as if trying to stay unnoticed. But when I reached my bedroom, a deeper unease set in. My bed was made with hospital precision, corners tucked tightly. My dresser was lined with perfume bottles arranged in a perfect row. Even my curtains were tied back with ribbons I'd never seen before. It didn't feel lived in. It felt like a stage. I grabbed my phone and dialed my mom. "Oh, sweetie," she answered, her voice overly bright, almost forced. "You're home already. How was the trip?" "Fine," I said cautiously. "Did you clean my house?" A pause, then a laugh. High, unsteady, wrong. It twisted my stomach. "Why?" "Honey," she said airily, "I was just watering your plants." But I knew she wasn't telling the truth, even. Before she spoke again, "Well, I might have straightened up a bit," she added. "You know how I hate clutter. I hope you don't mind." "It's spotless, Mom," I said. "Like professionally cleaned." "Oh, you're being dramatic," she replied. "I just vacuumed and wiped down a few things." I stepped to the kitchen window, glancing at Roy's house. "Mom, Roy said he heard voices. Loud ones. Did you have people over?" Another pause, longer this time. "Don't be silly, Helen. Why would I have anyone over at your house? You should check Roy's hearing." But her tone was off, too high, too thin. My mom's always been a terrible liar, her voice climbing when she's not being honest. And right now, she sounded like she'd swallowed a balloon. That night, sleep wouldn't come. Roy's words echoed, people in distress. What did that mean? Why would strangers be in my house at night? By morning, I'd made a choice that went against everything I'd been taught. I was going to spy on my own mother. I drove to an electronics store and bought 4 small security cameras, the kind that link to your phone and store footage in the cloud. That afternoon, I set them up. One in the living room behind a photo frame, one in the kitchen tucked behind the coffee maker, one in the hallway by the front door, and one in my bedroom hidden among books on my dresser. The whole time, guilt gnawed at me. What kind of daughter does this? But Roy's worried face, that strange smell, and the unnatural perfection of my house pushed me forward. I told my mom I was heading out for a quick 3-day run to Nashville. Instead, I checked into a motel 15 minutes away and watched the camera feeds on my phone. The first day, nothing happened. I felt foolish, wondering if I'd overreacted. The second day, around 7 p.m., my mom let herself in. She moved through the house methodically, adjusting things that were already perfect. It seemed harmless, just a mom making sure her daughter's home was ready. But on the third night, everything changed. At 9:30 p.m., my phone pinged with a motion alert. I opened the app and watched my front door swing open. It wasn't just my mom. She walked in, followed by 4 strangers, 2 men and 2 women, carrying bags and folding chairs. My heart raced as I watched them enter my living room. One man began shifting my furniture, pushing the couch against the wall, and arranging the chairs in a circle. A woman unpacked candles, placing them around the room. Another set up a small table with bottles and objects I couldn't make out on the grainy feed. In 20 minutes, my living room was unrecognizable. The lights dimmed, candles flickered, and these strangers sat in a circle in my home like they belonged there. Then things got stranger. One woman started speaking in what sounded like another language, her hands moving dramatically. The others joined in, their voices rising and falling in a chant. The audio wasn't clear, but it was enough to know this wasn't a normal gathering. Then came the sounds Roy described, voices not angry, but intense, emotional. People cried out, shouted, made noises that sent shivers down my spine. I slammed my laptop shut, hands trembling. What was my mother doing? And why in my house? 20 minutes later, my phone rang. It was the police. "Ma'am, this is Officer Martinez with the city police. We've had noise complaints about your address. Are you hosting an event at your residence?" "No," I said, my voice shaky. "I'm not home. Only my mom has a key. We'll need to check on it. Can you contact whoever's there?" "Yes," I said. "I'll call her now." But before I could, my phone rang again. It was my mom. "Helen, honey," she said, her voice taut with barely controlled panic. "I need a favor." The police are here, and there's been a misunderstanding. Can you tell them you knew about tonight's gathering? That you gave permission?" Her words hit like a punch. She wasn't apologizing or explaining. She was asking me to lie to the police to cover for whatever was happening in my house. "What gathering, Mom? What's going on?" "It's nothing big, sweetie," she said. "Just some friends having a spiritual meeting. You know how neighbors are. They hear voices and assume the worst." "Spiritual meeting?" I pressed. But before she could respond, I heard my father's voice in the background. My father, who I thought had no part in this. "Patricia, give me the phone." A moment later, his calm voice came through. "Helen, your mom's been helping some people with personal issues. It's all legal, and it helps pay for her medications. Just tell the police you knew." The world tilted. Both my parents were in on it. This wasn't a mistake. It was a scheme they'd been running out of my house, using my absence and trust to profit from whatever bizarre services they were offering. "No," I said quietly. "What?" My dad's tone sharpened. "No, I won't lie to the police. No, I didn't give permission. And no, this ends now." The silence on the line was heavy. "Helen, don't be unreasonable," my dad began, using the voice he'd used when I was a kid, expecting instant obedience. But I wasn't a kid anymore. I was a woman who'd built her own life, who'd trusted her parents with her home, only to find they'd betrayed that trust in the worst way. "You have until tomorrow morning to return my key and remove anything you've been keeping in my house," I said. "If you step foot on my property again without permission, I'll have you arrested for trespassing." "Helen Marie." My mom's voice cut in, sharp and scolding, like I was 5 years old. I hung up. The next morning, I found my spare key in an envelope taped to my door. No note, no apology, just the key. I spent the day scouring my house, room by room, looking for anything out of place. In my bedroom closet, I found a box of candles, crystals, and what looked like tarot cards. In the basement, there were folding chairs and a small table I didn't recognize. I piled it all into garbage bags and left them at the curb. It's been 6 months since that night, and I haven't spoken to my parents. Some might say I'm too hard on them. That family is family, and I should let it go. But here's what I've learned. Trust isn't owed just because of blood. Respect isn't automatic just because someone raised you. My house feels like mine again. When I come home from long hauls now, the silence is comforting, not strange. It's my silence in my space, earned through my hard work. If this story made you reflect on your own family boundaries, hit that like button and subscribe for more stories about standing up for yourself. Drop a comment below and share the biggest boundary you've ever had to set with family. And remember, your home should be your safe haven, not someone else's side hustle.